appointment. So Article 4.1 on page 13 does list all of the different categories. So starting from tenured, tenurable, conditional tenurable, and then we have the permanent categories of senior lecturer and permanent laboratory instructors, and then the contract faculty, in which there are 3 different types of contract: the fixed term, the continuing, and the sessional. So there are many contract faculty who actually aspire to hold a full-time position, a tenured full-time position. I was one of those once upon a time. Changed my mind back in the day, and right now the only pathway to permanence for contract faculty is the senior lecturer position. So this is the position that was negotiated in the 2018 round. So not our current collective agreement, but the one before that. And we all know it's not perfect, but it was actually a significant accomplishment at the time, because it's an MOU. So this is not even though the senior lecturer position is in the collective agreement, currently this is almost like a pilot. And there's a relationship between the senior lecturers and the fixed term faculty, because this was how the senior lecturer positions were funded. So that was one of the stumbling blocks to creating the position, and it always is, how is it going to be paid for? Because we currently have 18 senior lecturers and we have 8 fixed term faculty remaining. Of the current 18 senior lecturers, 5 of those folks had previous fixed term positions. So actually kind of worked their way from sessional all the way up to the permanence of a senior lecturer.
But with the continuing appointment, now at least I know what courses I'll have. I get preference over the rest of the sessional faculty. I know that some people, I have colleagues that have come across that they were looking at the continuing employment or continuing appointment, and it is something that you would probably have to go and take into account from a budgeting standpoint, because cash flow wise, what Mount Royal does is take your, based on your contract, and just prorates all your course and your income over the course of the year. Now, I'm not 100% reliant on the teaching income, but I'm sure there's some people that are. And so I think that's certainly something to take into account.
And then in 2001, I was successful for being selection for the senior lecturer in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences. And I now teach natural science courses, 11, 12, 2201, 3301, and so on. Now, if I look at it from my life before as a sessional or on the staff association, this job has lots of advantages. There are flexible hours, you have more time for your family, moreover, you have stability, you have an idea what you can plan, you can work with the budget. Everything is kind of limited, and I'm not lucky enough to have a business like Chris does. This is my sole income, so this kind of provided a lot of stability for me. And when you have kids and all, teaching in the evening is quite problematic. You can't, and as a sessional, you don't have any control on that. But once you become a full-time faculty, you can pick your hours. Well, majority, they will give you during the time you selected, so you can start early or whatever. And of course, you can pick whatever you want to teach. And this role as of a senior lecturer comes with teaching of 9 courses in a span of a year. Now, these 9 courses, you can split into fall and winter, or you can split it into fall, winter, and spring. So as I'm saying that there's quite a flexibility with this job.
Just a quick background. I joined Mount Royal in 2020 as a senior lecturer. So that was an interesting year because I never stepped foot on campus for the first year of my employment here. And then last year I moved into a tenurable position as an assistant professor in the accounting area. So my experience at Mount Royal has been quite limited. So this is only my 4th year. But I was asked to speak about the transition from the senior lecturer role to the assistant professor role. And my experience was overall positive. I have very supportive colleagues in my department. And yeah, maybe just a little brief background. The process was, I went through the exact same process as the other candidates that were external candidates. So even though my colleagues were familiar with me, I had 2 years of experience at Mount Royal, I still went through the same application cycle. So went through the same interview process, 2 rounds of interviews. I completed a teaching demonstration, and then the selection committee took me out for dinner. I also went for a campus tour as well, just like any external candidate, even though I was currently a senior lecturer. But the reason I mention that is that if this is something that you find yourself into or falling into at some point, yeah, just expect that you will be completing the full application process as if you were an external candidate for the role. And yeah, my experience has been positive. There are benefits as outlined in the collective agreement. So you get up to 2 years credit towards tenure if you move into an assistant professor tenurable track. So that's beneficial, of course. And what else can I say? Yeah, the process was professional. The people in the hiring committee were my colleagues. I was still employed as a senior lecturer at the time. So maybe the one suggestion I'd say is just maintain that professionalism, which means that I never discussed the hiring process with any of my colleagues. And I just, again, I treated the process as if I were an external candidate, and the hiring committee did the same, which I respect. I think that's the professional way of addressing this. So we never talked about it outside of the hiring process. I never mentioned anything. And yeah, so that was my experience going from senior lecturer to assistant professor.
So we are looking still to make inroads for contract faculty seeking more stability, creating perhaps more clear pathways, and we are still looking to better things for those who did manage to get a permanent position in terms of senior lecturers, to actually make the workload more manageable and essentially make the workload more manageable for all full-time faculty. So thank you. Appreciate folks that have come, and I'm sure we're all available to take questions.